fear-based trading. Okay, fear-based trading. So when the market goes into fear, what do we do? So a couple of things to remember. Okay, when there's panic in the markets, right? Whether it's due to virus or government intervention and everything's on lockdown or anything like that, the market freaks out. Okay, when the market freaks out, when I say market freaks out, I mean the general public. Okay, and when I say the general public, okay, I want you to understand one thing. This is not the day-to-day person who is going to a job, getting a 9-to-5 salary, coming back, and then spending all that money into living, right? And then back to the job, back to that paycheck, back to the job, back to the paycheck, and no other life outside of that. I'm talking about people who have savings, who have a surplus, and they're starting to look for what to do with their money to start growing that little nest egg that they've been, that they've been building up, right? Or they've been saving up. So these are the people who are generally a little bit higher earners, and they're generally a little bit more savvy when it comes to money, because they have the basic understanding of how do you deal with money. They might not be experts at money itself, but they might be at least better than the average person of, I know how to save, I know how to survive, I know what a rainy day means, and I know how to grow. Okay? Okay, now it's you can say it's almost controversial, so that means these guys must be boring. They don't know how to live life. No, I can get that. But no, that you got all kinds of people on this planet, right? So a lot of people who are investing, because when the market goes into fear like this, they're worried that their money is going to take a hit. So a big majority of that people who are investing are looking for, now what do I do with my money, because everyone is panicking. Okay? So you turn on the TV and you see more people buying toilet rolls. Imagine as an investor who's put in money into certain economies, they might be sitting there thinking, people are buying toilet paper rolls in masses. That means we are in the gutter. Okay, we're in trouble. Okay, if they're thinking like that, they're going to start going into a risk-off scenario, which means pull the money out of Aussie, pull the money out of New Zealand, pull the money away from Canadian dollars, and put it more into a Japanese yen or gold or a Swiss franc area. So the money still stays alive instead of putting it back into the bank. Banks might close, or the Aussie itself might get devaluated so much that when you convert it back, you're like, I got nothing left. It's horrible. So by putting it into a safe haven, you can at least control the downfall. Okay, so it doesn't mean you're turning it around and saying, okay, now we make tons of money, but you're controlling that risk. So the people who are investing, they're aware of this to a certain extent. Okay? So now, having that said, what does that mean for you as a trader? Okay, for you as a trader, first of all, I discussed this a little bit in the webinar. Watch out from the panics. Okay? You have to be careful and not panic. Okay? And the reason why I say that, now think of this as in general in real life, right? You see a person, you say hello to them, they say hello to you. Fantastic. This person is right here with me. He is a normal human being. But if you tell a person, you say, hey man, how's it going? And that person says, Michael Bublé, shoes, forks, kitchen. You might be thinking, is this guy out of his mind? Is he crazy? What's wrong with this guy? Because he's living in his own world, in his mind. Okay? It is not the reality of right now. So having that said, when a person is thinking about the past of his life and suffering today, or he's thinking about what can happen into the future and is suffering today, this is a person who is living in his mind about the past or the future that does not exist right now. Okay? A person who is suffering from something that does not exist, we call psychosis. Okay? In the medical terminology, that is a mental person, right? But in this world that we live in, it is also an acceptable state, which we call panic. Okay? So I want you to always stay calm. And I'm not saying do not panic, do not stock up. I'm saying observe with a calm, conscious mind, and really watch what's going on to understand, what do I need to do? How do I need to prepare? And think a little bit bigger picture, okay? As traders, you guys are already good at this. You guys are just going to raise the level a little bit more to your conscious level being a lot higher than everyone else who's pulling out their hair saying, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It is those people who always get stuck onto the wrong side of the market, unfortunately, right? It's even though they have so much knowledge to back them up, so much history to back them up, their emotions get to the best of them last minute. And it's not just trading, right? It's in everything in life. So the market is just a representation of human emotions on repeat. It's on repeat. That's all it is. As long as there's human players into the market, you will see that human factor repeating over and over and over again. That's why you have a 95.5 percentage running stably at all times, because you cannot run away from that human element. Now, the only way around it is if you're aware of the human element and you get onto the other side. Okay? This is not a strategy. This is not a technique. This is just pure awareness of what is happening to the people. This is how fake outs happen. This is how traps happen. This is how, it's a sell inside of a buy happens. If you're in the Iconic Trader program, this is how a set 1, set 2 happens. I can go on and on and on for this. So now bringing this knowledge and this idea into the trading world. So now you're here and you're watching, you're observing. So panic goes into the market. You see it on Bloomberg, you see it on CNN, you see it on all these things, and you're like, okay, the information you're getting is now objective. It is not a debate panel between left and right saying, does this mean when the president said this could mean ... And the other guy's saying, no, I think it means ... Now it's become a reality TV show. Okay, it is no longer based on facts right now of he said this, period. Okay, and those people who take it into an extension of that could mean, would mean, should mean, it's become a reality show now based on what is his or her own fears versus the next guy's his or her own fears, right? It's a battle between fears, when in actuality, what's actually happening in the real world might be completely different, right? So that's the beauty of all this. That's the beauty of all this. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you calmly observe, the markets tell you something similar. So let me take you onto the whiteboard here. So let me draw some stuff here for you. Okay, let me move my screen down. Okay, I am down here. Hello, down here on the corner. All right, so let me first do this. All right, so can you see my circle? Okay, I'm hoping you said yes, so great job. Okay, now let me start drawing this up for you. So if you see in tandem the Aussie, okay, the New Zealand. Oh, I'm really good at drawing this today. Okay, okay, I just screwed it up by saying it. Okay, the Aussie, the New Zealand, the CAD. Okay. If these currencies are going down and you see the yen, the gold, okay, the gold, here's the ticker for gold, XAU, okay, gold and, Swiss francs, if you see these in sync generally, these ones going up, those going down, then the markets are in a fear-based state. Now, what does that mean? What do you need to do to prepare to turn a profit from it, right? How do you as a trader get involved into this safe haven out of commodity pairs idea to be on top of it? So let's say you're a trend pullback trader, right? So here's a trend, here's a pullback, and you are looking to rejoin the trend for the sell side. If you get this kind of setup in a fear-based market, make sure you are not going against these for a sell. Do not do the buys on them in a fear-based market. Watch out for that. Okay, no buying and no selling on these particular pairs. So having that said, let me give you an example. So you want to do, for example, Aussie yen for a sell. Okay, why Aussie yen for a sell? Because Aussie is a commodity pair. Okay, so that should continue to go down and yen will get strong. So if you're looking at this currency pair, A downward market means yen strong, and a downward market means Aussie weak. Okay? So having that said, this thing will now go down. Now, having that said, what do you do in this fear-based markets? You need to learn a whole new trade management skills. You don't get a market like this. This happens like, only a couple months in a whole year when you get flowing markets like this. You do not get out at your normal support and resistance that you would normally do. Okay, I'm going to get out the recent low. I'm going to get out at a 50% Fibonacci. I'm going to get out at 61.8% or so on and so forth. Your traditional way of exiting, I want you to extend it out even further. Okay, because the markets are in flow. Okay, when they're in flow like this, they go. That's why traders are now switching their strategies and going more momentum based and actually milking out 100, 200, 300 pips in a single go with stop losses of like 20, 30, 40 pips only. Okay, so they're getting some massive risk to rewards that is, 2 trades is making their year, not a month, the whole year. It's making that much profits. Okay, because it moves that far with less hesitation. Okay, so if you get stuck doing something like, for example, Aussie New Zealand, and you want to trade that during a fear-based market, you're going to have some issues doing that. Even if you have a technical setup, you're going to have issues doing that because they're both commodity pairs. So if you're trying to sell it, you're basically saying, I hope New Zealand dollar gets strong. Okay, that's generally not going to happen. If it is risk-off markets. Okay, remember, risk off means they're afraid of the market. They don't want to take a risk to make money. Okay, a risk on means economy is healthy again. Let's put some money in Microsoft. Let's put some money in Google. Let's put some money in cryptocurrencies, blah, blah, blah. We're looking to put some money into multiple places to take that risk to make more money. Okay, a risk off scenario is I don't want to lose money. Does that make sense? Okay, I don't want to lose money. So that's how the market mentality shifts. Also, another key thing to remember during these times is when you have a risk-off environment, your fundamentals will get overrun. I'm not talking about your fundamentals like when you're eating on a dinner table, do not put your elbow on the table. I'm not talking about those kind of fundamentals. Don't talk down to your parents. No, not that kind of fundamentals. I'm talking about fundamentals as in the economic calendar. Okay? So when you're looking at, let's say, Euro news was really, really bad, okay, you can trade that. That's fine. But if you're trading that, for example, Euro Aussie, you can know you're going to run into some trouble if you want to sell that, okay? Because Aussie is going to give you a tough time. So if you have any news that's good news for Aussie or New Zealand or CAD, chances are they're going to get overrun, okay? They might bounce a little bit, but then they might continue the overall weakness trajectory. So during these whole times, any small good news, okay, another thing to remember, okay, so you can mark them out as pointers. So another very key element to remember is when the market starts to trend down, right? Like Aussie's going down, New Zealand's going down, CAD's going down, and you're like, okay, Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, CAD yen, I wanna just sell. As it's going down, any sign of good news, a research or a drug that's being developed, or there's some good news, or the numbers of deaths or viruses have reduced, or a breakthrough new vaccine is being made, you can be sure that there is people who are willing to go risk on to bring that market back into flow. So whenever you're in a downward movement and you're doing momentum trading. So here's one thing to understand here. When you're doing momentum trading, it's all about this. The markets are going down. It goes up a little bit and you're like, I'm going to hit it again. And it goes down. It goes up a little bit. I'm going to hit it again. And it goes down. Here's the thing. One good news comes out. It'll bounce like this. It'll come up very, very aggressively. Very, very aggressively. And then it will take some time to digest all this information. Okay, even though the market wants to go back down, it will take some time before it resumes and makes new lows. So remember, whenever there's a good information, it can bounce hardly against you, and you can't look at that as, oh, that's my pullback, sell. Why isn't the sell working? Sell. Why isn't the sell working? Sell. Why isn't the sell working? Okay, by the time I got up to here, well, all the profit I made is gone. Okay, so you want to be careful of that. And remember, when you're momentum based, that any sort of good news is going to have a sharp pullback. Okay, and when it has a sharp pullback, to resume the momentum, it needs a bit more of time. Okay, so we're actually in that phase right now of we are doing this sideways momentum, and now the world is still on standby. The numbers are reducing. There is no vaccine yet, so the numbers are reducing. Good news. Okay, the world's on lockdown. Good news. But then the vaccine is still not ready yet. Bad news. The numbers of people getting infected are still on the rise. Bad news. There's news about China not reporting the right numbers. Bad news. So there's still fear is looming around into the markets. So whoever is more looking for, okay, I think we're good, they're trying to hit the buys, but the big money is not hitting the buys quite yet until they know for certain. Okay, because they need to go back up from all this down move it's done. So it's going to recover very quickly once a good news comes out, but we don't have good news yet. Having that said, the markets are still going into a downward spiral. Okay, downward spiral. So keep these things in mind. So to recap it all, when you see these pairs in sync, the Aussie, the New Zealand, and the CADs getting weak, and the yens and the gold getting strong, know there is fear in the markets. Okay, the markets are in risk-off situation. Okay, they don't want to take a risk. They're scared. Okay, and in those pairs, you want to see if you get your design, whichever way you trade, support, resistance, Fibonacci, you want to stay on the sell side for Aussie, New Zealand CAD, and the buy side for yens. So that way you can make the most of it and practice to understand, am I in a nice flow of momentum where I can hold on to that trade and make more than I'm used to making. Okay, so I want you to not do this live. Check it out, look back on your charts, restudy it, do some back testing, do some forward testing before you take it live onto your account. Don't just be like, okay, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna go do this live. Be very careful, because like I said, any small movement, it can spike back up very, very hard, and that movement up can be a couple hundred pips as well. Okay, so now we are in a transitional phase, and when we're in a transitional phase, just know that it is still looming for the downside because we don't have good news yet. But if a good news comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down a little bit, gets many people short, and then jumps up very, very hard. So these are the multiple scenarios we're looking at. So for the most part, I would still say it is a sell. Me and my team are still on the sell side looking at this. So December, January, and most of February, a fantastic month. Early March also was pretty decent, and then it started to slow down a bit. The whole month of March started to slow down, but December, January, February, fantastic moves. Purely speaking, from the financial markets perspective, this is what traders want. Okay, and many people complain that, oh my goodness, it's moving so much. It's what we need, movement. Traders' job is, if there's movement, I want to get in here, get out here, make that profit in there for a sell side. If it goes up, I want to get in here, get out there, make that profit on the buy side. When you have a market moving like that, the chances of you being wrong in the way you're trading lowers, as long as you're going with the overall flow. Okay? So now, however way you enter, based on your own strategy, whether it's moving averages, Fibonacci's, MACD, RSI, pivot points, you name it, chances are all of these guys are going to see some profits. But remember of the risk of, as long as you're making that money, that's fine. Just be careful of any slight good news, bam, move back up. So stay on top of news events like on Bloomberg, stay on top of news sites, but make sure you're only watching objective information. Okay, so the fundamental data came out and they're saying euro is very strong today. That's objective news, okay, because the GDP got a lot better. That's objective. You cannot fight that and say, no, that's fake. No, it cannot be fake. It's done. It's a done deal. It's set in stone now. Done. So you want to look for objective information and not information of, well, she said on the news panel, and then he said on the news panel, and then they said on the news panel, and then they interviewed one guy on the street, and he was like, the world is ending. And then the next guy on the street like, no, we're just, we're good. We just need more toilet paper. No, so you want to stay away from all that stuff. You want to look at objective, clear, to the point information that's like, done. It is official from the government or from WHO. It's signed, it's sealed, done. Okay? Now, how does that react into the market? And then you plan accordingly. Okay? You plan accordingly. All right. So I hope this entire session was useful. I hope you were able to look at this, take it to your charts, look at them, try to understand, why Aussie yen has moved a lot. If you look at all of my Instagram videos that I've shared with you guys, all my live trading for the last 3 months, it's hardcore something yen, right? It's hardcore something yen. I made a ton of money with the yens. It was very, very great. It was extremely smooth and easy to handle. Okay, so it was very, very busy times. So now that things have slowed down a bit, we're doing the webinars again, so getting back to talking to you guys as well, so spending some more time. But it was great to see many of you guys yesterday. 1,000+ people showed up. It's a wonderful feeling. A lot of names. I recognize a lot of names, and I know it's a time that you're at home, your family's at home too, and you want to spend some time with them, and I really appreciate that. Just because you're home doesn't mean you have to attend these webinars. But the fact that you chose to attend the webinar already means a lot, So I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. That it's always fun for me to see you guys as well. And one important thing always during these times is it's very easy time to get lazy. It's a very, very easy time to get lazy. Try to fight that. Okay, so I've read this from a submarine captain. Okay, I don't. Do they call them captains? I think they call them captains. A person who was running a nuclear submarine, a captain for that ship, he talks about isolation and stuff. And he goes, he talks about having a routine. When you're in isolation, you want to have a routine. You want to do cleanups. You want to clean stuff. And you want to keep a schedule and keep building on your skills. You don't want to go obsolete, right? And you don't want to put on bad habits during this, this temporary quarantine that there is. Whether it extends or not extends, that's not the point. What if it extends another 6 months? It's okay. Let it extend. What you need to do is understand, are you still growing? Are you still bettering yourself? Whatever the situation might come, right? Our grandparents never lived with technology. We do, so we adapt with technology. So whatever the new thing comes, we know how to adapt. We're in that generation of we went from no technology to some technology to 100% technology. So we are in that generation that we can adapt. We know how to adapt. Can you thrive? Now, that is an opening question that we always give to our students at Urban Forex. Is I'm not asking you to do just the bare minimum. Can you be the best you can be? Okay? So do that. Raise the bar for yourself and for your family. And if you have family in your house with you, they will look at you and take you as a leader by example. Okay? You don't need to tell them, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Man, no one listens to words these days. You want to show them by example. So I hope you guys are keeping fit as well, and staying safe. That's the number one concern. Please stay safe. Whether it's a small issue for you or a big issue for you, regardless, your health should be important. So, be safe and, do what is needed to be done to stay safe. All right, guys. So that's all the time I have for right now. I wanted to make this webinar short and to the point, so it's not an hour long because you had those 2 supplementary videos as well. So going forward, I'm going to make the webinars like this. I'm going to make 2 small supplementary videos and then the webinar itself so we can interact and talk to each other. That'll be like 40 minutes long. And again, for the major announcements, for those of you who did not know, actually tomorrow is going to be the private webinar for the Iconic Trader program. Not tomorrow, meaning April 3rd, 2020. Okay. I'm saying the year because I know people are referring or emailing me saying, hey, Navin, why did you take that pullback buy on this video? And then I look back at the video, I'm like, that's like, 2010. I'm like, oh, I was like, that's a long time ago. Like, I don't even remember, So yeah. So again, stay safe. I will see you guys in the next webinar. And those of you guys who are in the courses and in the programs, I will see you guys in there growing, doing what you have to do to get better, because this is a very, very active market. And I hope you guys are at least staying at home and enjoying the process of making some money and ordering on Amazon. There you go. Right? So that's the beauty of it. So a lot of people are fighting to stay and talk about, do I have a job? Do I not have a job? And you don't have this concern. You're a trader. So, another thing to be thankful for. It's a blessing. Your job just got more interesting, actually. So, appreciate it and make use of it and grow. All right? Don't just use this time to Netflix and binge. So do it on the weekend. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. That's it for me for now. Bye for now. Cheers.